Good afternoon, everybody. This is Burke Lyle, and I'm live and on the air, and it is kind of a rainy afternoon. I'm recording outside, but luckily there is a porch that I'm on. But yes, it is raining hard. I hope it doesn't affect the show too much. So anyways, a couple days ago I went ahead and talked about what might happen in Games 4 and Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. And what it turns out is, well, here we are. The Astros are up 3-2, going back to Houston with a chance tonight to go to the World Series. And as I said earlier, the starting pitching was Verlander. In Game 4, it was, getting ahead of myself, in Game 4, it was Zach Greinke, and then the Yankees used Tanaka. Well, in Game 5, it was Verlander versus Paxton, so it's exactly the same as what happened in Game 1. Now, so now we'll go through Games 4 and 5 for you. So in Game 4, in the same problem as I talked about, the Yankees had in Game 4. So Greinke walked 3 in the first inning, and he had 2 4-pitch walks. I mean, and he even walked in a run. I mean, from what you're seeing, it looked like he had no command. It just seemed like he was, didn't know where the ball was going. And for a pitcher like that who doesn't throw hard, where he can be patient and wait, that's what the Yankees did. Yet, you bring up Gary Sanchez, who was at a really bad playoffs. I mean, I'm not trying to think the entire playoffs if he's done anything. I don't think he has. I don't think he's gotten any hit of any. I mean, it's just he's been awful in the playoffs. I think he's hitting 100 in this series. He struck out with the bases loaded. So again, you go back to what we talked about at length, what happened in Game 3. Failing to take control of the game. And they did just that. In the second inning, runner on second, Aaron Judge is up. All he needs is a single. It's 2-0. Doesn't come through. So again, moments like that, we know what Sanchez and Judge are capable of. Maybe if they had power, maybe on a different day it's 7-0. I don't know. But that's what the Yankees failed to do early in Game 4. And then you know what happened? George Springer comes up. And in recent memory, the last few years, one of the best hitters really in the postseason, one of the best power hitters in the postseason. Guess what? Well, for the most part, he hasn't had a very good series, especially early on, and really postseason in general. Tanaka hung him a splitter. Guess what? Hit into the left field seats, pulled the ball. Guess what? Astros are all of a sudden up 3-1. So 3-1, 3-1, just like that. Pretty much. And sure, Greinke settled down. Watching him pitch, he's a lot of different weapons. He kind of threw the fastball. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting thing about Greinke is he throws the fastball. Not much more than 90 at this point. 90, 91, 88, and then his changeup could be, 86, 87. Really that much different. I mean, most pitchers, the difference between fastball and changeup, I usually say is, 8 to 10 miles per hour different, perhaps more. But with Greinke, sometimes his changeup and fastball are almost identical. So I think he really settled into the game. He really adjusted. I mean, slider, changeup, those are his strikeout pitches. He went on to have 8-pitch first inning, but that's really what happened. And with the Astros, if a pitcher like Tanaka, they were not striking out. They're putting the ball in play, and it showed. That's why they eventually hit that 3-run home run. And for Greinke, he kind of had a short outing. He came out after 4 1/3 innings, so he got only 13 outs. And basically, he walked Judge. And that was really it for him. And here's another thing. Middle innings. Here's their chance again. So out comes Zach Greinke. In comes Ryan Pressly. And Ryan Pressly, he's had a really poor postseason. I remember, I think, going all the way back to Game 1 against the Rays, had a bad game. He really had an inefficient postseason. So the bases are loaded, and the Yankees, once again, since it's 3-1 at the time, they have a chance to really come up and really take advantage of. And you know what happened? Gleyber Torres, best hitter for the Yankees this playoffs, and really especially in the ALCS. He struck out with the bases loaded, and so did Encarnacion, who played really well in the first 2 games against the Twins, and then has done really nothing since then. So he had another opportunity. This has really haunted them the entire series, failing to capitalize. And at that time, I think they were, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. And then here's really when the game really unraveled. And this was also the theme too. The Yankees in Game 4 really did not play well at all in Game 4. Fielding was a big issue too. I mean, DJ LeMahieu makes the error right then and there, and then now it's time for, and then you bring in Chad Green, who's probably been one of their best relievers, certainly for length. He comes in, and you know what? Carlos Correa been slumping this series. Jordan Alvarez right before that didn't get a single hit, just hit a single. Correa hits a 3-run home run, just like that. Game 4 is over. So remember, Springer, 3-1, 3-1. Well, 6-1, 3-run certainty right then and there. So just think about those moments in the game. And then really after that, they made 4 errors the entire game. That was really, I guess there was one final opportunity. I think it was that same inning. Gary Sanchez had a 2-run home run, 6-3 now. And then Judge struck out with LeMahieu on second. And then basically the rest of the game, the Yankees made errors. The Astros ended up winning 8-3. So that was the Astros game to win. So could have the Yankees won that game if they could have done things differently? Oh, you didn't make all the errors. Oh, yes, the Yankees could have won that game. They had those opportunities to really break open the game and win the game. You saw, and you think about what they did against Minnesota, right? And in Game 1 against the Astros, where, they had runners on. It seemed like they took advantage of it. They took advantage of all the runners they got, right? Either by hitting home runs, hitting doubles, even singles, just doing everything they needed. That's why they swept the Twin series, is their offense showed up. Houston, it did not. One of the reasons is the Astros, hold on, I might sneeze. Sorry, that was a grand slam. Sorry about that. Right? So 4 straight grand slams were hit, right? I'm sorry, I got my words mixed up. So here's what happened, right? Well, the Astros have much better pitching than, say, what the Twins may have. That's exactly right, especially starting pitching. Starting pitching is no contest. And what happened is that they got out of so many jams. And there's all these moments where we thought the Yankees could have won, and they didn't do that. And again, going back to what the original plan was, when I said Greinke would have started in Game 5, well, obviously at the time, I thought, okay, the Yankees are going to beat Greinke. And they had plenty of opportunities to do that. He looked beatable, for sure, just like Garrett Cole. And they didn't do that. Instead of them being up 3-1, it's the Astros up 3-1. Or heck, even sweeping. So Game 5, and a lot of interesting things about Game 5 as I go through that, watching that. So, from what I thought, initially early on, is I thought the Astros were going to win Game 5. So I thought Verlander has the ball. Paxton, can you trust him? And going into that, Paxton and Torres failed to field a slow roller from Springer, right? And then pass ball, and then just a simple ground out, and then a wild pitch. And all of a sudden, early in the game, you have Michael Brantley on second. It's 1-0 after all that happens. And just, and the Astros are able to score a run by not hitting the ball out of the by not even hitting the ball at infield, taking advantage of sloppiness, and you thought, this is the same Yankees team that they played in Game 4. The Astros are up. Verlander's on the mound. I thought the series was over. I thought the Astros were just gonna end the game right there. I really did. I thought they were just gonna pull away and just take care of the series right then and there. So then what happened is, so you have a runner on second, and Bregman and Gurriel both fly out to end inning. So all of a sudden, that looks pretty identical to what the Yankees were like. Capitalize. Take advantage of what you have. Add on runs. Couldn't do that, and in the second pitch of the game, it's Justin Verlander. DJ LeMahieu, we know Verlander's weakness this year. Home run ball. You know what happened? Second pitch of the game, LeMahieu hits into that short porch, the classic Yankee Stadium home run, one row, into right center field. Aaron Judge, who it seems like he's gotten very good at reaching in the first inning, him and LeMahieu, they've been very good. I think they've reached all 3 times in this series in the first inning. I think they're all 3 for 3. So then Torres hits a double, and then guess what? First 3 Yankees have gotten a hit. And you're thinking, are things finally different? Sure, Stanton struck out on a slider, which, by the way, this was his first game since Game 1. He missed 3 games in a row. You were wondering. Since you looked at Stanton in the lineup in the playoffs, Stanton out of the lineup from the Minnesota series, all the way down to Game 1 in Houston to then the next 3 games, there was a pretty big difference right there. There was a big difference. So guess what happens now? Aaron Hicks is up with the long at bat. Verlander just goes a slider right down the middle. You know what happens? Aaron Hicks hits a 3-run home run on a hanging slider. It's 4-1 Yankees. That's what the Yankees were supposed to do in Games 3 and 4. That was that moment they have been waiting for. Moments like that. They finally came through. And all of a sudden, within a certain time series, so again, my thought process going back, I was thinking whether you're an Astros fan or whether you were a Yankees fan, Astros fan first inning, you probably felt good. By the time the inning was over, the script was completely switched. The Yankees finally had that moment they're waiting for. And really the story of the game was James Paxton. I mean, think about it. He had 9 strikeouts, and he ended up going 6 innings, and here are some of the key moments. So, struck out the side in the second. I think it was fastball, curveball, and then the fastball again. So again, George Springer's up, runners on first and second, strike 3. And Verlander really settled in. And while he lost the game, I think Verlander benefited. He had 1 bad inning. He had 1 bad inning. Since early in the game with Verlander, you know what? It seemed like he was overthrowing every fastball from what I observed. And he just, made a mistake there, left 1 pitch over the plate, right down the middle. And that was really the difference, really in the game. But Verlander really just settled down and the big reason why that was important for Verlander to settle down and really give them 7 innings, that's what he ended up giving them. Including he had 6 strikeouts in his last 3 innings. Why that was important is the Astros today are going to have to use a bullpen game. I mean, we knew that game was coming. We thought it would initially be in Game 4, and the Yankees would probably do the same thing. Well, now, all your best pieces, whether that's Ozuna or Will Harris, maybe even Josh James for that matter, who knows? List goes on. Now all of a sudden, you have a rested team, a rested bullpen, who you can ask, can you somehow navigate Game 6 to win? Since the Yankees are going to do the same thing, right? So that's why that Verlander start was so important. He could have just got knocked out of the game and thought, oh well, but you had no rest. That's why that was so important for Verlander to settle down. And you know what that start was like? It was sort of like Steven Strasburg against the Dodgers, where they just hit home runs off him pretty much right away. And he thought, oh, here we go, the Nationals, this is their game to lose. And you know what? He kept them in the game. Now, granted, the only difference is the Astros did not capitalize. They did not take advantage of maybe some of those opportunities that they had. I mean, they had base runners on. but just Paxton was even better. I thought Verlander was very good for the most part. I mean, if I had to give him a grade, I'd give him a B minus. He just had first innings obviously an F. Rest of the game probably an A plus. So again, overall very good start for Verlander. He kept them in the game. The Astros just did not come back and rally. They did not do what they did. Whether they had those 3-run home runs in Game 6 or the Yankees making mistakes in Game 4 or whatever, that didn't happen. But again, think about what happened. And then Paxton again. So he had 3 strikeouts in the second. He had 2 more in the fifth. And then, here's the obvious thing. So he had 76 pitches through 4 innings. And third time order was coming up. And I was thinking, remember in Game 1, or Game 2, pardon me, where Aaron Boone basically pulled Paxton out of the game. Thought, we're not doing this. You're not getting into any trouble right now. You need to come out of the game. Well, he left him in. I thought, okay, 1 base runner, that's it, and he's coming out. Well, 2 strikeouts in that inning. 2 strikeouts. He struck out. And it was kind of funny. Michael Brantley never strikes out. He struck him out for the second time that inning. So he navigated through that. And in the 6th inning, I think he was nearing 100 pitches. He came out, and I was surprised then. I thought, really? Is he really letting him come out? Well, he did. And I thought, if he allows a first base runner, that's it. And so he got his 9th strikeout. He struck out Alvarez. And Aaron Boone's coming out, and you thought, surely he's taking him out. Because, again, knowing Aaron Boone this postseason, really Aaron Boone in general, well, granted, I think it always depends on the circumstances, right? I mean, next year, the Yankees could be very starting pitching dependent. They could be like the Nationals or the Astros. Well, he has like 111 pitches. He's coming out. It's the 6th inning, which, remember, if Tanaka had 66 pitches. And granted, Tanaka's really not that ace-type pitcher that Paxton can be. So he came out. But again, the circumstances were different. That was Game 1. Obviously, the bullpen was very well rested, having not pitched since that Monday in Minnesota. This circumstances was different. Why he left in the game, thought one more batter, finish this inning, let him go back in. The circumstances were different. If Paxton had been efficient, maybe he goes the entire game. But right now, and we talked about the rain out benefiting the Yankees more than the rest of their bullpen. Well, at the end of the day, they might have to use certain pieces for 3 or even 4 days in a row, right? So now, all of a sudden, you need Paxton to get through that inning. Since the bullpen, all-out bullpen game in Game 6, and who knows, for Game 7, so he asked him to finish the inning. He did. I mean, he almost hit a home run. I think just the last pitch, he gave everything he had. And that's what they needed. Paxton gave them exactly what we needed. Now, was it efficient? 112 pitches in 6 innings? No, surely can be a lot more efficient than that. But 6 innings is 6 innings, whether Tanaka did in 66 or whether Paxton did 112. They gave them 6 innings. And then, for now, so then 7th inning was very interesting. So Springer gets a single, Altuve walks. So then you bring in Zach Britton. So lefty on lefty to face Brantley. And again, this is the Astros' chance to really get back into the game. And you know what happened? Grounded into a fielder's choice. And Bregman flied out to center. So there you go. Once again, they failed to capitalize. And finally, you know what? It's time for Zach Britton to come in. 1, 2, 3, 8th inning. Struck out Correa and Alvarez on sliders. So Zach Britton, give him tremendous credit. The heart of the Astros order was up. Another chance to get back into the game. And who does he get out? He gets out Springer. Or no, he gets out Brantley. And then Bregman. And then obviously getting out Correa and Alvarez, right? So the Astros lineup just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It basically goes on all from 1 through 9. Everybody's a threat in that Astros lineup. And you know what? Give props to Zach Britton. The question is, will he be used today and even tomorrow? That's interesting. Will he be used 3 days in a row? That would be interesting to see. And then Chapman, who was well rested, ended up getting the save. So it's 3-2 Astros going back to Houston. So we talked about it's going to be a bullpen game. So I looked up the starting pitching rotation. It's unannounced. We don't know right now. I have no idea. The Yankees, it could be Chad Green as an opener. For the Astros, it could be Jose Urquidy, who I thought might start Game 4s at certain times. I thought might start Game 4 against Tampa. That didn't happen. Or might start Game 4 against New York. So it's a bullpen game. And the Yankees bullpen is fairly well rested. Sure, he used a lot of energy from Britton already. He got 5 outs last night. So is he unavailable today? I don't know. But then again, the good news is you have Chapman, who's well rested. He's hardly pitched at all this playoffs. Or I think he pitched once against Minnesota and then in Game 1 against the Astros. Right? So he's well rested. Maybe use someone like Jay Happ to give him multiple innings, who's a starter. So that's what it's going to take today. You might have to use. So again, all bullpen for the Astros. Bullpen again. And in Game 7, by the way, it's going to be Luis Severino against Garrett. Luis Severino against Garrett Cole. So Cole's resting in Game 7. And I talked about what might happen. And it's very important for the Astros to win that game since, yes, the advantage is on them. Since, sure, tonight, if you ask all bullpen, we talk about it. Basically, Astros bullpen against Yankees bullpen. Yankees, no question. Well, tomorrow night, Severino against Cole. Now, that could happen. Maybe Severino finally puts it all together in a playoff start. And in order for him to win Game 7, if necessary, whatever happened against Minnesota, against Yankees, where you show flashes of being great, but then you get into a lot of trouble, and at times it looks like you're going to get knocked out of the game. Severino needs to be better. He needs to be more efficient. He needs to have quicker innings, and he needs to be that type of ace that he was in the regular season in 2017 and 18. We need that Severino. We need him to bounce back. And we're not asking him to finish the game, no. But can he do something like Paxton or Tanaka did, where maybe he can go 6 or 7 innings? Since it's bullpen. We knew that there'd be 4 in the playoffs. No one ever plays 4 games in a row, unless it's a rainout. The Yankees have to play 4 games in a row. I mean, you think about all the pieces they've had, right? Some guys you might have to ask might have to go 3 days in a row, or certainly back-to-back days. So again, I think that's important for Severino to have a good start. And then Game 7, this is Cole's game. This is his game. We know if he's just efficient if he's efficient at all, we know he's going to go 7-8 innings. Maybe the bullpen's exhausted, and maybe Cole puts together one of those Game 7 masterpieces. So I don't know. So my current prediction, it's been that way all the time. I said a week ago when the series started, Astros in 7. That's what I said, right? Well, it appears to be that way again. What I originally said is, before the rainout, is the Yankees will go back up 3-2. Well, I think the rainout, in some ways, maybe benefited the Astros in some ways. That they could have I thought they could have wrapped up the series last night. They didn't. So now what it's all about is, for the most part, is finishing the series. This is Game 6. I think the Yankees win Game 6 tonight. They have a better bullpen. I feel like this could be an opportunity for the Yankees offense to really get it going once again. But Game 7, it's Garrett Cole. Even when Garrett Cole had his worst start of the playoffs, he had 7 strikeouts in 9 innings. So if Cole cuts down the walks, pitches like he did against Tampa, I think the Yankees almost certainly win Game 7. Or the Astros, almost certainly win Game 7. So that's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. Astros in 7. Yankees win tonight. Garrett Cole outduels Severino in Game 7. So my prediction for the World Series is going to be Astros versus Nationals. So thank you for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next time. I think the next time, we might do another video. I should have done it yesterday. I really want to do this before the World Series starts. I want to talk baseball history in Washington, D.C. I might even do this today, or even I might have to do it early morning tomorrow, or at the very latest on Monday. I need to put together that video. So thank you for listening. In addition, we'll also talk on Monday as well, so we might do 2 videos on Monday. We'll also talk Game 6 and Game 7, or even maybe just a Game 6 recap before we go in, and of course on maybe on Tuesday we'll do a World Series preview. So it's been fun. We've talked a lot of baseball the last 2 weeks. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.